Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. A few months ago, I put a question out to the community on my YouTube channel asking if there are any questions or topics for an FAQ video that some people would be interested in knowing more about. And one of the questions was that they would really like to know about researches from the Academy and what's really relevant for PvP. They want to be more focused on PvP, so they want to prioritize what they are researching. And that's a pretty good question. I don't think I've gone through the Academy as I had hoped in the past. I've talked about it a lot in the consultation videos and looking at different keeps, but I haven't really gone into the Academy and focused on a prioritization. And I'll kind of do that here. I'll answer the question and I'll go through the Academy and look specifically at the priority for PvP. Now, it's different if you're growing a kingdom, then you're going to want different technologies that are focused on growth and construction speed and research speed and those kind of things. But here we're just going to be looking specifically at what is relevant for PvP. So I'm not going to look at the military academy because that gets a little more complex and that unlocks later after Keep 35. So you'll get it around Keep 36. And a lot of the stuff in there is relevant for PvP. The majority of it, realistically, there's a couple here and there that are requirements to move forward, but the majority in the military academy is relevant for PvP. But that's not quite the case in the academy itself. So let's go take a look inside the academy. The advancement tree is more for growth. So things like resource gathering, resource production, construction speed, that kind of stuff you'll find in here. That's not really going to be relevant for PvP. Defense is, but there is definitely a priority within defense. Things like fortification, not really important. Engineering, not really important. Anything that has to do with traps, like trap attack and all that, not really relevant. I mean, yeah, it gives you a minuscule buff to your traps, but traps are just not super great in this game, unfortunately. I think they should be, but realistically, they're not, and you're not going to get a lot of value out of those research. So don't prioritize anything to do with traps. Do not prioritize anything to do with archer tower. They're just not important. You'll need them to advance to more important ones, but those ones aren't important. However, starting right at the top of the defense tree, we have defending troop attack and defending troop defense. Now, these give you a percentage increase to defending your city. So this is when you are being attacked, not when you are offensively attacking, but when you are being attacked, it will give you a defense boost and an attack boost. Those are pretty important. The rest of this, not important, not important. I'm going to scroll down. Crafting speed, general revival, not super important. So there's not a whole lot in here in the defense that is really great. There's a couple things that are useful, like advanced medical power. If you have, if you're a small keep and you don't have billions and billions of power, and you only have enough troops that will actually fill your hospital, then yeah, increasing your hospital capacity will make a difference. And having a good duty officer on your hospital will make a difference in that case because more stuff will be wounded rather than killed. So absolutely, that would be good at a low level. At a really high level, it's not relevant because really, if you get zeroed and you're 8 billion power, well, 100% hospital capacity is going to save a very small amount of your troops. So it's not going to be essential. It's good, and it does save a few more, but you're going to probably be in a situation where losing 7 billion power is going to be a lot more painful, and I don't think the advanced medical power is going to really help soften that blow, unfortunately. Things like healing speed, those are utility. They're okay, but they're probably not priority. Advanced defending troop attack, advanced troop defense, these are good. And you can see that unlike the one from before, which was 10%, this one goes up to 40%. So you get quite a bit more value out of these two. And then you have the HP as well that goes up to 10% here. That's not the advanced one, that's just the defending troop HP. I haven't even completed some of these because the priority for them is just, it's just not important. I mean, I could totally finish them now, but why? Like, my troop upkeep is so high that it's not going to make a difference. I have to always keep my food below the capacity, so that's not that useful to me. Super defending troop HP, like the others, very important. And then you have the super defending attack and defense, important. Anybody else notice how there's no advanced defending troop HP? Like, we have the normal, the 10% for the attack and defense. And then it goes down here and you finally get the HP. But these ones, the advanced, you already have attack and defense, but you never get that. You never get that advanced version of that HP buff for the HP. It's weird. Okay, military. Of course, military is going to be a priority for PvP, right? Your end goal here is to increase your buffs as much as possible. But there are some things in here that are less valuable than others. Of course, the ones like this, flat defenses, flat increases of your attack on all your troops. These are good, but they're pretty small amounts, like plus 100, plus 150, but they're pretty easy to get. So you might as well get those. They're not going to have a huge impact offensively, but when you have lower tiers defending, they will make a difference. So definitely get those. Conscription is training troops. It's a requirement anyway, so you're going to have to get that at least at level 1. But it's not going to have an impact on PvP. It's more utility. It just makes it easier to train troops. Of course, you're going to need things like that. March slot, you don't really have a choice anyway, but you would get it. These are the same thing, like the defense version of the flat increases. More value defending than attacking, but still useful. We have the HP version of the flat increases. Again, more value defending than attacking, but still worthwhile to get. And they're not too bad. They're pretty easy to research. These ones, you don't have a choice. Your coordination, increase your march size, of course, as much as possible. So you're going to want to max out that one for sure. That is more utility. Tactical experience increases your general experience, but it's not the primary way that you're going to get experience on your general. So whether it's important to get, probably not. I mean, the growth that you get from killing monsters, even after a very, very long time of doing it, is not going to increase it even close to as much as just a single PvP encounter. So not a priority. These ones, of course, are a priority. Now we're starting to get into the buffs, and these are far more valuable than the flat increases at the lower level up here. The buffs are going to be a lot more valuable offensively, so the advanced technologies, the advanced research here are definitely a big priority to get. And these are 100% each for defense. Then we get over here to the attack, and you get those buff versions of the attack. Super important. Definitely need to get those. March speed increase, absolutely. I wouldn't say it's a priority over the actual buffs, but March speed is good. I mean, there's no reason not to get March speed if you can get it. And then you have the HP versions of this. So yes, absolutely get that. You get more march size increase. Down here, you have another percentage-based increase, but this is when you are attacking. But any percentage-based boost that you can get on your attacks, definitely worth getting. Coordination is march size, definitely get, excuse me, definitely get that. Training speed, it's not going to have PvP benefit, but it is utility. It makes it faster to train, which means less speed ups. So it's worthwhile to get that, but does it have an effect on PvP? No. Morale does. Increase troop attack when attacking. That's a pretty big boost. 40% there, 40% there, and you get a march size increase. So all these ones that are percentage increases for your attacking, and these ones are like attacking and defense. Like all of those, super important to get. Military tree has a lot of great stuff in there. Medical aid has some potential. There are some things in here that you are going to want to get depending on whether you participate in server war, whether you're trying to increase your hospital capacity, those kind of things. A lot of it is not huge, like healing. That's just a difference of some speed ups or not. So it's not going to be a priority over actual increases to your army. But you'll definitely want to get that eventually. These ones, the rescue ones, make your death turning wounded rate increase. So that means some of the dead troops that you would have when you are attacking are instead converted into wounded troops that you'll get back. 10% is, it's pretty good. They're definitely worth getting, all these rescue ones, especially if you are doing PvP that is not Battlefield. It's going to have no impact whatsoever on Battlefield. Not real impact, because the troops that are in Battlefield are eventually going to get healed completely anyway. But in World PvP, in Server War, this stuff makes a difference, and it is pretty important. Mounted Troop Revival is very similar. So you have death turning into actually like survival. So the difference between revival and rescue is rescue will turn them into wounded troops, and this is at a 10% rate here. And then the revival will just make them so they're immediately available again. They're not wounded, they're not dead, they're just back to normal. Those are definitely worth getting. Light of Server War is very useful if you participate in Server War. It just means you'll be able to revive more troops when you use the Light of Server War. So it replaces some of the troops you would otherwise potentially lose. This is healing stuff, not essential. Good, but not essential. Revival, it's just a higher version of the 4% one that we saw above. So you get more. We have death turning wounded rate of all troops. So this is when you're attacking. The same thing as before, the rescue that we had. Where was it? Oh, I missed the other first aid. So we have these rescue ones that are individual, like this is just for ranged troops. So it's going to be death turning wounded for ranged troops. But then when you get to the first aid, it's death turning wounded for all troops when you're attacking. So it's an extra boost of that death turning wounded. And then you got the super version, of course. Increases your hospital. It is useful if you're small. Less useful if you're huge. The other ones in here are healing. This one, again, is like the other one that when you're in Server War, it's useful. If you aren't a big participant in Server War, it's not going to be useful to you. I didn't even work on these ones down here because I don't do Server War very often. So hospital scale means nothing to me. Like if I get zeroed, then I will have so much recovery to do that a little bit of hospital scale is not going to make a difference. And I don't participate much in Server War, so this is not going to make a difference to me. Okay, moving on. Alliance tab. Let's see if there's anything in here. This one, I believe, is mostly utility that has to do with the Alliance. So you're going to see things like here, transportation, Alliance help time. The only PvP useful stuff in here is the reinforcement. And reinforcing isn't as big a part of the game as it used to be. It used to be really, really big, and now the rally sizes and march sizes are so big that reinforcing someone doesn't have as big of an impact as it used to. So they are good to have, and you will reinforce, but they're not as important as just increasing your actual stats, your actual buffs. Those are far more important than these. So these ones, I would say, are a lower priority for whatever research you want to get done. Let's look at subordinate cities. So this one is largely centered on growing your subordinate cities, which isn't generally that important. I mean, getting more materials, getting more gold out of your subordinate cities, and then also increasing the building speed and training speed of subordinate cities. It's just they're just not used in that way. Like subordinate cities are more for debuffing, and you get that through the gear on your subordinate city mayors. And there's no impact on that here, except for a couple pieces that are important. So if we go down, like a lot of this is just not important. Like ground troop, range troop, mounted troop, all these survivals, they only have to do with the actual troops in your subordinate city. They're not going to help revive your main city troops, your actual marching troops. They're only going to help with those little measly ones, the tier 8, the tier 7s, and whatever you have in your subordinate city. It's just going to help revive those. So is it important? No, not compared to so many other things out there. However, these kind, the in-city ones, are very important. If I click on this one here, you'll see that each subordinate city increases the troop attack when defending your main city. 3% for 3 of them to complete, it seems like a really small number until you remember that people have 6, 7, 8 subs. So you're going to be multiplying it by that number to see your actual effect. So if you have 7 subs, then you are getting a 21% increase of troop attack in city for all your troops. That's a huge deal for just 3 of these researches done. And then you have the in-city HP, the in-city defense, and if I scroll down, you're going to have the super versions, and where are they? The advanced versions here. So you got the advanced versions, that's another 3% times however many subs you have. And then we go down further, and we have the super in-city attack for another 3%. So that does add up. I mean, you definitely want to prioritize getting those ones done. Not necessarily anything else in the subordinate city tree, but those are super important. Let's go over to recovery. Recovery is just like it sounds. It's all about recovery. So Holy Palace and the souls that you can do, the death troop into soul. So it helps get troops back that you would have lost. So it's not useless. It is relevant in PvP, not as relevant as actual march size increases and buffs, but getting these things are not terrible. But of course, there are things that are more valuable in here than others. Capacity is more valuable than horn production. This just makes it so you'll get them back faster, but it doesn't increase the amount that you will save. Capacity will. So capacity is important. What do these do? Reduce the resource consumption of reviving. So it just makes it so that they're a little cheaper to get back. Not a big deal. Things like this instead are a bigger deal. Getting a higher percent of troop soul rate saves more troops. Senior palace capacity, yes, you're going to save more troops into your holy palace. So those kind are significantly more important than anything else in here. Yeah, I should probably work on this. I forgot I didn't do this one. But yeah, definitely increasing my holy palace deserter capacity. Yep, absolutely need to get that. But these ones down here, nope. I probably will never get them unless I get really bored because the amount of resources I'm going to need is insignificant compared to some of the other researches that I need to get done. Let's look into military advance. Now, this one is probably the most important out of all of the other trees when it comes to PvP. Yes, we have some things in here that aren't essential, like conscription is not essential. But so many others in here, like these buff increases to defense, HP, and whatever for all the troop types, huge, very important. Raid is march speed. It's not useless, but not as high a priority as getting these ones. So I like the way that this one is done. Like you got the ground and the ranged, and then you have the mounted and the siege. And then it'll kind of continue like that, but with debuffs. We've got, yeah, this is situational. Help seeking increases how many troops you can take in from your alliance as reinforcement. But like I said, reinforcement isn't as big as it used to be. It's still important to have a good capacity for reinforcement and a good wall general and all these things. But with the size of players and the huge disparity between players these days, reinforcement doesn't play as big a part. Now, I'm not saying it isn't important, but I would definitely prioritize debuffs and buffs much higher than I would reinforcement. So yes, you're going to want to get this 70% decrease in the enemy troop attack. Absolutely essential. This isn't going to be as important unless you're a main rally setter. But here's some more. We got buff increases to all the troops. Super important. These ones take a lot more time to get finished off, but they are a much higher priority. Conscription is just training troops, not as important. Prestige is your march size, so you definitely want to get this. These are more debuffs, essential. You absolutely want to get those. Help seeking is that reinforcement capacity. Get it if you can, but it's not as high a priority. We don't really care so much about the training rate. You're just going to see ones that are higher capacity for training. It doesn't really have any impact on PvP. It's more utility, just quality of life. You can train more at a time. Doesn't make it so that you spend less speed ups, just means that you have to click the button fewer times. Let's see, more of that stuff. Okay, here's march size again, important. Got the march size extra slot. That's in the number 6 right there. And then over here, we're back to some important stuff. We have percentage increases, which are essential. March speed here, and we have more debuffs. So there's a lot of stuff in military advance. There's a lot of stuff in military. There's some in defense. There's some in subordinate city. You just got to pick and choose the ones that are the highest priority to you. But I would mostly, if you're just starting out, focus on military advance and military, and then probably prioritize getting those in-city attacks in the subordinate city next, and then just filling in the gaps. All right, that's it for that question. That was a long one. The Academy has so much in there, so there's a lot to talk about. Hopefully this is useful to a few people. I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for watching this video and supporting the channel. If you liked what you saw, please consider hitting the like button and checking out other videos on the Miser's Guide to Evony. I'll see you in the next video.